Okay, we're at 9 o'clock by my watch. So here we go. Believe it is lesson 15? Lesson 15 dictionaries. Okay, the other thing you can call them is arrays. They're more dictionaries for Python. Arrays, we use those in Java. They're slightly different, but there is a bit of a comparison to them. So, going through here, the important thing to understand about a dictionary is that the dictionary is always going to be a set of pairs. Okay, so it's going to be a whole bunch of pairs. Depending on how many entries you put into the dictionary, all of them have a corresponding connection. So, I changed the name of this because I keep telling all of you how bad I am at naming these things. So I changed the name in my example, but if I create my variable called masters, and then inside of it I've put a set of strings. So Yoda and Dooku, those are two, that is one of the pairs that have been put into the dictionary. The second pair, you can see separated by a comma, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan. That's the second pair that's been put into the dictionary. And you can see the syntax of this one compared to a list. A list was a brace. This is a curly brace. So you have a curly brace identifying it as a dictionary. So as soon as you create your variable, set an equal sign and go to set the value of that variable, as soon as you use a curly brace, the computer's going to know, okay, I'm expecting one data type separated by a colon, a second data type, and a comma for the next grouping as I put it in. So if we go to here to look at it, if we want to create the exact same thing, I'm going to call it Jedi equals curly brace Yoda separated by a colon Dooku separated by a comma. That's my first entry. If you don't have a pair of something into a dictionary, it's not going to work. So I have Yoda, Dooku. My second grouping is Qui-Gon. I think that's a capital. Qui-Gon separated by a colon. And you can see I've got the error already on this list because I don't have a full set of pair in for the second entry. So then I say Obi-Wan. All right, so now I have it instantiated. I have it set up. I don't have any errors. When I run the program runs, but it's blank because I don't see anything. All right, if I want to see it, I can say print Jedi. And now I can see my dictionary as it's set up. And again, it includes all of the garbage, so it's not a very clean print, but it does print out all of the entries in my key value pair. All right, so I don't know if I actually said the words key value, but that's how they identify them in a dictionary. The first entry is the key, the second entry is the value. And you have to have an even number of key value pairs throughout the dictionary. All right? So the key is the first, value is the second. Then we can print it. I think I've done that. Now, manipulating the list, the first thing they can do is print the length of our dictionary. How many key value pairs? So I say print len Jedi. And this is going to print the number of entries in my dictionary, but it's not going to print the number of individual entries. It's going to print the number of full groupings in the dictionary. So it only prints out 2 even though I have 4 entries in there, because each pair counts as 1. Each key value pair counts as 1. Okay. So let's print out just 1, and we'll say Padawan. So in Star Wars, a master is the teacher, and the student is called the Padawan. So That's a little Star Wars lore for you. So if we say Padawan equals Jedi Qui-Gon. And then I say print my variable Padawan. Oh, come on. And when I run that one, it searches through. So what I've done on line 6 is, as I've said, that this variable that I just created called Padawan is equal to the value inside the dictionary Jedi of the value Qui-Gon. So what it's going to do is it's going to search into the dictionary until it finds the key Qui-Gon, and it's going to print the value related to that key, which is Obi-Wan. If I change this to Yoda, it now prints out the value related to Yoda. So it just searches through the dictionary to find that key, and then it prints out the one that's related to it. Okay, good. Appending the dictionary. This one's a little bit different than appending the list. When we appended the list, we used the same syntax. So I think when we appended the list, we still used braces. In this one, we don't use curly braces. We append using braces again. So what we would say is the name of our dictionary, the key in braces, and then the value of the key as an equal sign. So we'd say Jedi Anakin equals Ahsoka. So if I want to append here, I say Jedi Anakin equals, and whatever the value is going to be. All right, so now I've appended my dictionary up here that has 2 entries with 1 more entry. Here is my key, here is my value. So when I print my dictionary down below, it now adds an extra one in there. And if I throw this len down here as well after line 9, it's going to show me the increased number. So above line 9, this dictionary only has 2 entries. Below line 9, this dictionary has 3 entries. Okay, relatively simple. Loops and dictionaries. So we kind of went through loops in the list, and we can use the same thing. So we can create 4 master in masters, and this is why I changed the name to Jedi, because it was becoming confusing. What I'm using this for right here, and a student asked me this yesterday, can you change this to anything? And yeah, you can change it to anything. Because when I was using the list, I think I used name in names the first time. And the second time I used score in scores. All right, it gets confusing, so that's why I've changed it a little bit in here. My screenshots are still the same. But what this variable is right here is like a placeholder for the loop. So each time the loop repeats, or every time the loop iterates, this variable that you create after the keyword for is kind of like the placeholder for that loop. So when the loop loops the first time, it puts whatever you told it to be in here, and it prints that. When the loop loops the second time, it grabs the next item in that list. Okay, so the same thing occurs for the dictionaries. So for master in Jedi, then we say Padawan equals masters in master. All right, and it's confusing, but I'm just going to show it to you here so you can understand it. So let's go for master in Jedi. Padawan equals Jedi. I do it every time. Okay, I believe that's right. So what I've done with this loop is I've created this placeholder variable called master, and I said, so for master in Jedi, before my print, but after my for statement, I'm saying the Padawan variable equals the value to the key in Jedi. All right? So the value to the key in Jedi is what Padawan is equal to. Master is equal to the key in the dictionary. So then when I come down to my print statement, I can give the user information as to what they're looking at. Rather than just printing Dooku like I have here, I can give them the information on what they're seeing. So I can say the Padawan of blank is blank. And then I use my dot format and put master into the first curly brace and Padawan into the second curly brace. I've identified the master as the key, and I've identified the Padawan as the value. So I've given them a different name so that I can print them out all separately. And I create that here and here so that the computer knows the difference between the key and the value, which it already knows the difference, so you just have to give them a name. Now when I run this, hopefully it's going to work right. And it says the Padawan of Yoda is Dooku, the Padawan of Qui-Gon is Obi-Wan, the Padawan of Anakin is Ahsoka. Okay? That is a much cleaner print than this one is. Much cleaner output. Outputting it like this, people who don't code don't like looking at things that way. So the user looks at that and they just think, that doesn't look nice. This is so much cleaner. Hey, it works out cleaner, it's nicer, and that's the best way to print it out. Plus, you can tell the user what they're looking at, which is always very, very important because the user's stupid and gets mad when it doesn't know what it's looking at. All right? I think I covered all of this stuff. Okay. All right, that's that. So moving from here, we will go to assignment, I can't remember. Personalized dictionaries, number 17. Okay, assignment 17, create 3 different dictionaries with key value information about some of your favorite things. I use Star Wars in my example lesson. Now you can create one using your interests. Okay, I always use Star Wars. I had to run a poll, an online poll for a voting thing I was doing in this executive I'm on, and I use Star Wars there. I like that because it says something about me immediately. People automatically know who I am, and it's unique to me. That's why I want to do the same thing for all of you. I want something to be unique, and it also stops you from copying it from somebody else. You have to put your own content inside this. Okay? So the requirements are each dictionary must have at least 2 appended items. So you create the dictionary, then append 2 items. A loop has to be used to list all the key value pairs. Each dictionary must have 10 key value pairs. Just do 10, okay? I've had students who put 200 entries into this thing. That's just a waste of time. If you want to use a key value, if you want to use a dictionary in one of your further programs as we go ahead, and you want to put 200 entries in it, sure. But for this one, just put 10 in. So that's 30 entries you're going to have to put in, 60 total strings that you're going to have to put in. That's enough. You don't have to put any more than that. So lots of people will do sports teams, a deck of cards, because there's a unique connection between 2 different words, whatever it is. Okay, just do 10 though. Don't go overboard. Research something in the lesson I didn't cover about dictionaries and include it in your program. Comment this section so that I can find it. So, like for example, you would say, Baron, this is something I found about, I don't know, can I spell dictionaries? I don't know. I'm the worst speller to ever live. All right, so you put that in there so that I can see automatically. All right? That would be how you would work it. This is not actually the code. So you can put something in like that. Just like that. All right? That is all. Make sure, because I'm still seeing in people's in their programs that they're only putting in these comments. These comments are a requirement. The first few assignments I mark, if you put these ones in, I'll give you a 1 out of 4 on comments. If these are the only things you put in all the time, I'll stop giving you the 1 and I'll just give you a 0. Because you need more than these. You need comments throughout. The last thing I want to teach, it's just something that I remembered. I don't have it in any of my lessons, but it's super, super valuable. If I go back to that lesson we had, I think it's this one. Now let's say I wanted to comment out a large chunk of my code. So say I have 2 or 3 nested loops and they're all kind of messing up and I want to comment out the entire group. If I was to comment out from line 9 to line 16, I have to go hashtag, and then the next line, hashtag, and then the next line. It takes a long time. So to comment out a large chunk at a time, you go 3, not 4, 3 quotation marks to this. That's the start of your comments. And you can see I've got an error here because I haven't closed. And then I go to 3 there. So now when I run this, it only runs to line 7. It stops running. It is now considering all of this as a big comment. So the computer won't address it. All right? I find that very valuable, especially when you start working with lists, loops, all of that stuff, because you could end up with 10 to 15 lines that you have an error in somewhere and you can't figure out where. So you want to comment that out, but you don't want to lose it. So you just comment it out by that section. And then if you start to figure things out, you can move your comments down to here. So now it's brought back lines 9 to 11, and I can still operate within those. And it prints all of those for me, but it still leaves this one out, if say I had the error in here. Okay, not related to that lesson, but I forgot that I'd never shown it to you, so it's something that's valuable and helpful. I believe assignment number 17 shouldn't take that long. So if I make assignment 17 due at the end of today, I think that's more than fair. You're still going to have almost 2 hours to finish it. And if you look further down the list, we are moving very quickly, but it was tough for me to manage the schedule, being that this is a blocked class. So I think we are a bit ahead of the schedule. So we've got one more lesson in this module, and we're finished it. Then we have 2 assignments in this module. And in this one, we actually only have 2 lessons and 5 assignments that are relatively short. Once we finish those, we're at the end of the course. So I'm going to guess we have maybe a week and a half left in terms of lessons that I have to deliver, and then I'll have given all the content to you. So from that point, then you'll be working on your research project, which is just basically a very large program that you create, and prepping for your final, as well as catching up on any assignments. So we will have extra time at the end. I went faster at the front to make sure there was more time at the end. So you should have time to get caught up. Please make sure you are keeping yourself as caught up as you can be. All right, that's it for today. If you have questions,